The Kia EV6 was already one of the most compelling electric vehicles in its segment because it has a great platform and a funky design that really helps it stand out. But Kia has just refreshed this EV to make it even better than it used to be, and in a lot of meaningful ways.
For more expert car reviews, don't forget to share our channel and subscribe so you can catch some of this and maybe even a little of that.
The EV6 has got to be one of the most unique looking vehicles out there. This looks like nothing else on the roads, period. But is it a hatchback? Is it an SUV? I don't know. Kia calls it a crossover, but you really can't tell by looking at it, which is why I find it so interesting. So if you want a wacky car that really stands out, this could be a really great pick. And it's not going to be for everyone, but I really like all the changes that Kia made with this refresh. There's a new bumper, and the highlight is literally these headlights. It has this new angular design that makes it look really futuristic, and I love it. And as cool as the EV6 looks from the front, I think it looks even better from this angle because of this really dramatic design. But I have a couple complaints to make. Number one is that there's no rear wiper, which I think Canadians really need. The second complaint I have is that I feel like this lift over height is a little bit high, which is going to make it trickier for you to load and unload things, especially if you have mobility issues. But on the plus side, the trunk is huge. There is room for about 690 liters worth of stuff, and that expands to 1,322 liters when the rear seats are folded flat. And there is a frunk under the hood, but it's not very big, so it's not super practical. But I do love the fact that the EV6 can basically act like a mobile generator if you have the proper attachment to power your campsite or your tailgate party, which is really cool. And finally, the biggest update that came with this refresh is that the EV6 now comes standard with the Tesla-style charging port. That gives you access to the newest Tesla superchargers, and that will just make your whole EV ownership experience so much more convenient. But it gets even better if you also get this adapter, which gives you access to all of the charging networks, and that is going to be a game changer. It would be a huge shame if the interior couldn't match the stylish exterior, but I think Kia did a really great job making this interior look very cool and futuristic, but without sacrificing practicality or usability. So first of all, they did a great job utilizing all the extra space that an EV platform offers. I love this big storage compartment under here because it's big enough to hold your takeout or even your bag. This storage compartment under the armrest is huge. The door pockets are huge. So there's a lot of space to store your small items, which just makes things a lot more practical. And I love how everything looks in here too. So this kind of rubberized cloth texture is really nice because not only does it hide dust, but it also makes the cabin feel a little bit more high-end and a lot cozier. Same thing goes with this brown leather. I love the way it feels, but it's also really nice that it's offered in a color that is not black. Usability-wise, I think even if you've never driven an EV before, you'll find everything very easy to use. Everything is very user-friendly. Everything from this gear selector to this touchscreen makes a lot of sense. And this touchscreen is great. The menus are logically laid out, so it doesn't take you too long to find what you're looking for, even when you're driving. I also love the fact that it comes with basically all the features you want at this price point. You know, stuff like heated seats and a heated steering wheel. But I will say, I really wish that they included ventilated seats at this price. You know, if Kia is going to keep playing that value card, I think they have to start including that feature again. And there's only one thing I don't like about this cabin, which is this touch capacitive panel right here. And it shares functions between the HVAC and the media, and not at the same time. So you have to toggle between both of them, which is really annoying when you're driving because it just adds an extra step. So that I don't like, but everything else in here is great. The biggest change to this Kia EV6 is the battery pack. So energy density has improved, battery capacity is up, and energy output is also up. So this battery used to be 77 kilowatt hours. Now it is 84 kilowatt hours. And what that means for you is that you get more range. So that's a big plus. The Land all-wheel drive model that I'm driving right now is officially rated to offer 475 kilometers of range. But if you don't want all-wheel drive, you can get a rear-wheel drive model that offers 513 kilometers of range. Now, those are exactly the types of numbers we need to see to get more people more comfortable with driving EVs. So this platform is good for that reason, but also good because it accepts super fast charging. It can accept speeds of up to 350 kilowatts, which is the fastest we have available right now. So the other week I was at a non-Tesla charging station that was giving me 150 kilowatts of charging speed. Now that was enough to get me from 59% to 88% in the time it took me to do a grocery run. That was about 20 minutes. And so I love this platform for those reasons, but also because it offers a ton of performance as well. So this model has 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque. And that kind of speed makes this EV6 a slingshot. So it's absolutely effortless to get up to speed and pass somebody. And I really like that kind of speed because it just makes everything a lot more fun. And in terms of driving dynamics, the EV6 might be one of the best driving EVs out there in its class right now. So first of all, the battery pack is way down low, which you know by now gives the car a really nice center of gravity, so it feels very balanced. I also really like the steering, so it's got a nice weight to it. It doesn't feel as dead as other EVs. And in kind of these corners like we're in now, the EV6 feels really good. It feels very confident and stable. So with the driving dynamics, it's awesome. And plus with the one pedal driving, it's also really good. So you can adjust the levels to be stronger or weaker if you want, but it's enough to bring the car to a complete stop. So you barely have to use the mechanical brakes. And the thing about the driving experience I like the best is the smoothness. Everything feels so refined and smooth, and you can barely feel any bumps in the road. And that's exactly what I like to see for EVs. And of course, Kia is really good about including all sorts of safety equipment as standard. So the EV6 comes standard with all the goodies, everything from blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert to adaptive cruise control and highway driving assist, which is really nice because it kind of reduces the amount of stress you feel on the highway because it can follow curves and it can adjust the speed to match the person in front of you automatically. And I really like using this one because everything is very smooth and it works really well, so it's not giving me false warnings all the time, and I really like that. And there's more good news. In terms of pricing, you can get a base EV6 with rear-wheel drive for about 48 grand, and that's before destination. The Land all-wheel drive model that I'm driving is about 58,000 bucks. And I think that's actually a really good value considering the performance, the practicality, and the cool style, and just how everything comes together so smoothly and so refined. I think that's actually a really good value. And as a bonus, every EV6, I think except the base model, comes standard with a heat pump, which means that you don't have to sacrifice so much range in the winter when you want the heat on and you don't have to be freezing. So that's always a plus. To recap, I love the Kia EV6's funky style, excellent powertrain, and great usability. I'm not a big fan of the dual function touch capacitive controls or the fact that there's no rear wiper. The Kia EV6 could be one of the most compelling EVs on the market right now because it is so well-rounded and it does so many things really well without making too many sacrifices to get there. And in a world where so many cars all look the same, the EV6 is so refreshing because it looks so unique. But the fact that it also has great driving dynamics, lots of features, and is so user-friendly makes it all even better.